Somebody sitting behind you.
Howdy, y'all. I'm working on being Southern. Good morning. My name is Larry Perlman, and I am not a member of the board, but I welcome you here on behalf of the board of the trustees of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Shenandoah Valley. Try and say that fast 3 times. We welcome you into what we consider, and hopefully you consider, a safe place, honoring the inherent worth and dignity of every single person on our planet. I'm not here to convert you to anything, although if you'd like to, we'd be happy to help you, but rather encourage you to really find your best self, to help you find a life of compassion and love and dignity. What a better world this would be if we all knew we don't have to think alike to love alike. I love having help. If you're new, please take note of our mission statement, which is on the front of this order of service. And we also encourage each other to promote and practice the 8 principles that are written on the back. We'd like to welcome our visitors, whether it's your first time, second time, you haven't been here in a while, or if you just like to be heard. Stand up, tell us who you are, where you're from. And let's start on this side of the room. Do we have any visitors over here? Yes.
Hey, I'm Chris. I live in Ridgecrest. I've been in Ridgecrest since 2015. And we started coming here right before COVID. And then we just haven't been back, since COVID. We just decided to come back.
Welcome back, Bruce. Good to have you. Anyone else on this side? Alrighty, how about this side? Yes.
Good morning. My name is Linda Ragsdale. I am visiting here from Hot Springs Village, Arkansas. I bring you greetings from the UU Church of the Village in Hot Springs, Arkansas.
Great.
Welcome. Glad you're here. How long are you here for?
I'm just visiting for the week and helping my sister who lives here, who's recovering from Helene.
Oh, yeah. Good. Well, thanks for coming up. Thanks for being here. Anyone else? Anywhere? Okay, well, thank you so much for being here. We know you have choices. We're just glad the Super Bowl wasn't scheduled earlier in the day. But you did have choices of things you could be doing right now, and you're here. So thank you all, not just our visitors. If you're interested in learning more about us, you'll find a white card or a yellow card or an orange card someplace in front of you in the pews. And if you can't find one, it looks like that. They'll be out on the little credenza out in the lobby. Pick one up, you can fill that out. We won't pester you to death, but we'll just stay in touch with you through our newsletter, which lets you know what's going on. We also have membership committee people who have an orange name tag like that one. And we have a coffee hour after service. Some people just come here for the coffee hour. And snacks and coffee. And you can get with anybody with an orange name tag like that if you have questions about the organization. Guess what's back? And it's not Arnold Schwarzenegger. Round robin dinners. How many people enjoyed round robin dinners? They're back. And it's our most fun community building event. See Marty Salzman, raise your hand, Marty. Or take a look at the bulletin board, or in this week's Current. Current is our newsletter, and that'll give you an opportunity to sign up for the round robin dinners. And if you have no idea what the round robin dinners are, ask anybody at coffee hour, and they can tell you. And if they don't know, they'll point you to somebody who does.
If they don't know, send them to me.
Yeah, go to Marty. If you ever don't know anything, go to Marty. It is our practice to acknowledge that this land, which we revere and which we're on, and we have the privilege of using, has not always been ours to call home. UUCSV respectfully acknowledges that the land we are on today is the ancestral land not only of the Cherokee, but of other indigenous people. And it was through their stewardship, understanding, and conservation that they survived and continue to thrive in this place. We acknowledge their enduring connection to their homeland. And now, oh, I didn't remind you to turn off your cell phones. And we have a new policy. You don't want to find out what happens if your phone goes off. So please silence your cell phones, and now we'll let our service continue.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so it begins. Unitarian Universalism is faith in people, hope for tomorrow's child, confidence in a continuity that spans all of time. It looks not to a perfect heaven, but toward a good earth. It is respectful of the past, but not limited to it. It is trust in growing and conspiracy with change. It is a spiritual responsibility for a moral tomorrow. So please rise as you are willing and able, and join in singing hymn number 39, not 40, number 39. Bring your horn, thy music. Please be seated. Our responsive reading this morning is number 660 by Henry David Thoreau. We will read this responsively. To live deliberately. Why should we live in such a hurry and a waste of life?
We are determined to be starved before we are hungry.
I wish to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life.
I wish to learn what life has to teach, and not, when I come to die, discover that I have not lived.
I do not wish to live what is not life. Living is so dear.
Nor do I wish to practice resignation, unless it is quite necessary.
I wish to live deep and suck out all the marrow of life.
I want to have a broad swath to drive life into a corner
it proves to be mean, then to get the whole and genuine meanness of it and publish its meanness to the world.
Or it is sublime to know it by experience and to be able to give a true account of it.
Yes, suck the marrow. Yum, yum. There's more sophomore behavior before the hour is up, I promise you. We have a treat, and I'll leave that to you.
Hello, I'm Linda Metzner, the music director, and this is the second Sunday when we have special music. And we have a wonderful duet this morning by Susan Hurley and Aline Carillon. Susan grew up in a musical family and sang solos in church and duets in high school with her sister. She sung in the Charlotte Choral Society, the Hickory Choral Society, the Asheville Choral Society, and the Asheville Symphony Orchestra. But of course, her favorite choir is here at the UUCSD.
With their great director.
And Aline's lifelong love of music includes a Bachelor of Music Education from Ithaca College, membership and leadership in multiple church, community, and professional choral groups, music teaching at the elementary and middle school grade levels, and music arranging for the various groups that she has led. Also a flute player, Aline has often been spotted in the orchestra pit for the Learning Community School musical productions over the last 20 years.
I just want to say briefly a little bit about the song we're going to sing. It's called Oh Love, and I chose this several months ago. I knew that Valentine's Day would be coming up in February, so I thought love would be appropriate. But I also chose it because it is a beautiful, beautiful song, and the words are very near and dear to me. For me, love propels my life. I think that nurturing love within us, whether you have a flame, and some of you do, or an ember that needs nurturing, or maybe a spark that needs tending daily, love can inform and motivate and propel us to do things that maybe we're not comfortable with. So listen to the words. They're just wonderful. And remember, next week is Valentine's Day, and that's a wonderful time to show your love to someone.
Feel the
Why don't we give him some more love? That was Alrighty. So this is the time in the service when we invite you to come and share a joy I always forget, or concerned. Maybe you're concerned that I forget, but I shouldn't be concerned. No, the water's there. Anyway, please, come, light a candle, drop a stone, share a joy or concern. The floor is yours. Do I need to bring this to anyone? This stone is for those of you who, for whatever reason, decided not to come up. Just know that we keep you in our thoughts and prayers and in our hearts and minds. Before we do the meditation, I want to wish a happy birthday to Christine Page, who has turned 21 again. And so, happy birthday, Christine.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Christine. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, Chris. Okay, here we go. I invite you to join in the spirit of prayer and meditation. We will have our usual time of quiet afterwards. And once again, I'll be relying on the words of Brother Richard Gilbert. I'm giving Howard Thurman time off. And we'll have a time of quiet afterwards. So please center yourselves as you see fit. This is called Overwhelmed by Being. None of us will relate to this, but I thought I'd try it. Let's stretch ourselves. There are times when we feel overwhelmed by being. We are on a treadmill, walking hurriedly, going nowhere. The images of our lives fly past us as on a movie screen. The hands of the clock we see actually moving oh too quickly. At such times, we need to gather ourselves together, to slacken our pace, to blank out the screen, ignore the clock. I would add to turn off the news. Then we can remind ourselves that we are in charge of our lives. We who dictate the pace. We who choose to stop the rapidly moving screen. We who set the rhythm of our own lives. It will not be easy. It is never easy to convert ourselves, to turn ourselves around, to get some kind of handle on the story of our own lives, to realize that we are the architects of our own fate. To be sure, there are powers and principalities that confront us. The demands on our time and energy are endless. We cannot fully control our environment. We are, after all, finite and flawed creatures. But out of that finitude comes a yearning for meaning. Out of the flawed nature of our being, we yearn for a purpose. Out of the hectic rush of events, we can still set our own pace. We are the only ones who can. And now, while our minds are one for this brief moment, I leave you with the eloquence of silence. And so it is. Okay. Okay. It's that time, folks. Thank you. And thank you for your generosity ahead of time.
For our offertory, we're going to hear from the wonderful duet again, Aline and Susan. And this song is by Woody Guthrie, composer and vagabond singer of This Land Is Your Land, plus union songs, children's songs, and many others. He was an inspiration to Pete Seeger and Bob Dylan and helped launch the folk music revival of the 1960s. In 1948, a plane crash in Los Gatos Canyon, California, killed 32 migrant farm workers being sent back to Mexico. Noticing that none of the deceased was identified by name, Woody wrote these lyrics, which were set to music by a school teacher, Martin Hoffman. Mexican-American youth are marching today and during this time in Asheville and many other cities, drawing attention to and needing your support for these very same violations of human rights.
The crops are all in and the peaches are rotting. The oranges piled in their creosote dunks. You're flying them back to the Mexican border. It takes all their money to wait back again. Goodbye to my one, goodbye, Rosalita. Adios, mis amigos, Jesus y Maria. You won't have a name when you ride the big airplane. All they will call you will be deportees. Some of us are illegal and others not wanted. Our word contracts out and we have to move on. 600 miles to that Mexican border. They chase us like rustlers, like outlaws, like thieves. Goodbye to my one, goodbye, Rosalita. Adios, mis amigos, Jesus y Maria. You won't have a name when you ride the big airplane. All they will call you will be deportees. Is this the best way we can raise our good orchards? Is this the best way we can grow our good crops? To die and be scattered to rot on the tonsils.
Thank you for your generosity. One of the keys to growth, for spiritual growth, for evolution, for the cultivation of your inner life, call it what you will, is the ability to see things as they are. There's a lesson I'm preparing for our, study group. Today's lesson in A Course in Miracles is I'm determined to see. And tomorrow's I'm determined to see differently. I've done it enough times. I didn't peek ahead, but it's hard enough just to get this one. But it's the ability to see things as they are, not as you wish or want them to be. A lot of people upset about what's going on in the country, and a lot of people kind of got okey-doked, or either they were in a bubble, and so now they're seeing maybe how things really work, and they're struggling. And it takes courage to do that. But in order to grow, that's what we have to be able to do. And it's my contention, and it's not just what's going on, it's even our, it's our personal lives. They're all interconnected. But it is my contention that in order for human beings to shift from our present self-destructive way of being to a more life-sustaining way of being, we really have to take a good, hard look at what is going on in ourselves and in our world, because they're basically the same. This means looking the so-called danger dead in the eye and still finding the means to act. After all, our outer world is a reflection of our own personal and collective inner joy and chaos. And so, as conscious, embodied beings, endowed with inherent worth and dignity, as well as multiple sensory perception, we are built to respond, not react. Well, sometimes we do, but to respond. We instantly get out of the way of the oncoming truck. We jump in the swimming pool to save the child. We dash to get the water to put out the fire. And so this response ability has been an important feature of life throughout our evolution as human beings. We see it in LA, we see it after Hurricane Helene came. I mean, we see it, and we get excited. Go Asheville, we're going to, and I love it. But this is what human beings have done since the beginning of time, when they had to deal with the same things we're going to have to deal with pole shifts, with hurricanes, with tornadoes, with earthquakes. Those who survive have to rebuild. It's in our religious narratives. It's just something that we do. I'm not saying don't get excited over it, but it's part of being in a human body on planet Earth. We grieve those that don't make it, and we go on. It allows us to adapt to new challenges and create new opportunities. It enables entire groups and societies to survive as long as its members have sufficient information and the freedom to act. Responding to a danger is a function of what? We need feedback, right? For only with good information can we find out what the appropriate action really is. And yet today it seems in our current situation here on planet Earth, things just don't seem so simple anymore. The dangers facing life on earth are so massive and unprecedented that in some ways they're really hard to believe. It's overwhelming, plain and simple. The very danger signals that should rivet our attention, about the climate for instance, the very dangers that should rivet our attention to get us to bond together in collective action at times seems to have just the opposite effect. It's changing. This is changing somewhat now as we view events that are going on. There are changes in our culture, our politics, our economics, our religious and spiritual life. To me, a change of consciousness is beginning to spread across the globe. That doesn't mean everybody, but people are beginning to say, well, wait a minute, you need to be accountable for this. You need to be accountable, or at least there's an outcry for accountability. It really does get messy though, doesn't it? A German friend of mine asked me what borders on insanity. And of course I said, what? And they said, Canada and Mexico. So, I just want to see if we were awake. The German said it, not me.
They should know.
I know it's getting a little, President Olaf is having some issues there, isn't he? And yet, though, some of these problems make us want to pull down the blinds and busy ourselves with other things. Our desire as a nation for distraction supports billion-dollar industries, which tells us, just relax, just chill. Everything will be all right as long as you have this car, or if you use this deodorant. It's all good. It's so easy to get caught up in the day-to-day details of our lives and lose sight of the lives around us, especially those lives that contain pain and suffering. And sometimes it can be even more difficult to look at our own wounds, our own pain and suffering. I'm always in favor of a good therapist. And, some stress embracing your light, but you got to embrace your darkness, your shadow. Some say you got to embrace your shadow, but you really do have to embrace your light as well. And so it's a constant balance of this yin-yang kind of energy that we have to walk through in life. Thich Nhat Hanh writes, do not avoid contact with suffering or close your eyes to it. Do not lose awareness of the existence of suffering in the life of the world. You have to find ways to be with folks who do that, and we know that. And it's easy to forget. It's easy, some of us are just so in tune with the suffering of the world that we wind up suffering as well. There's an old saying that the death of 1,000 people is a statistic, but the death of one person is a tragedy. The thing about living life as if we were a rat on a treadmill is that, you're still a rat. You're still a rat, man. It's going to get better before you go. I'm not going to leave you here. The poet Thomas Stearns Eliot asks, well, we read it today, where is the life that's lost in living? Which is reminiscent of a well-known passage from Walden. We read that this morning. Why should I live in such a hurry and waste of life? I wish to live deliberately, intentionally, I think is a better word. I wish to learn what life has to teach, and not when I come to die, discover that I really, really haven't lived. I do not wish to live what is not life. The late Universalist minister Eric Walker Wickstrom writes in a book called Simply Pray, in one way or another, all of the great spiritual teachers have critiques for the kind of life that is not life, the kind of life where we're worried and angry and despair about what's going on in DC, and the kind of life that I'm worrying about stuff I can't control. I can't go to bed at night. I'm just out of sorts. A lot of spiritual teachers talk about that's not really what you want to do. Life that is lived at a high speed like that you're never in the present, tomorrow's gone. I mean, tomorrow hasn't got here yet, the past is gone, but you're worried about both, and you're never really in the present. Jamming something into every moment, never pausing just to be. As I always try to remind you, we are human beings, not human doings. But that would be hard pressed to prove if you looked at my date book and calendar. So I'm in it up to my neck as well. But people today we're so programmed that it takes a virus, an earthquake, a hurricane, just to catch our attention. Just to catch our attention. And to learn to be still, to learn to contemplate, to meditate, to pray, would assist us in turning down the volume of our lives. I mean, I'm in it too, man. And I have to constantly remind myself, like Gandhi said, there's more to life than increasing its speed. Some of us don't want to vote anymore. Some of us oh, what's the use? You know, we vote for people that we hope they're going to change, and we know they're not going to change, but we hope they're going to save us. Many of us use our spirituality as a means of not being engaged. It's said that the Buddha, when at the moment of his enlightenment, seriously considered just staying there in this nirvana, in this bliss. Yet ultimately, he said, man, I got to get back. I've got to get back. As a Zen priest once remarked, the mountaintop is enticing, but we must ultimately return to the marketplace. Joseph Campbell said that this is part of the hero's journey, of the shero's journey, this constant struggle. Do I save the world, or do I savor it? Ulysses is tempted to stay on the island with the sirens. King Arthur's knights nearly give up the quest for the Holy Grail. Even Dorothy thought about staying in Oz. And yet always the journey must continue. We have to go to the destination, and it's a return to the world. Now, is this type of, it's kind of apathy, but is it contagious? Or is it just people being tired and overwhelmed? Or is it both? Have human beings really become callous and nihilistic? Have human beings really ceased to care about what happens to ourselves and the planet? I mean, sometimes it can appear that way. Many reformers and social activists decry public apathy. To rouse us, they deliver yet more terrifying information, as if we don't already know that the world is having some major problems. They scold and preach about the moral duties as if we don't already know, or as if we don't care. Their alarms and sermons tend to make us kind of batten down the hatches even tighter, causing us to just say, look, man, I'm just tired. Come on. And increased apathy is often the result. But what is this thing called apathy? Apatheia is a Greek word, which literally means non-suffering. Did you know that? No. You see? The Bible. See, you don't want me to talk about it, but you want me to know. You want me to know. So given the etymology of the word, apathy is the inability or the refusal to feel pain. We don't want to feel the pain of the world. But is there another perspective? What we're dealing with, in my mind, is very close to the meaning of compassion, which means to suffer with. It is the pain of the world that's in each and every one of us. It's the distress when we hear deportee. I mean, that's a hurtful thing to sit there and listen to. And I thank you for doing it. Because you go, man, we're still doing, I'm too old for this. We're still protesting this? And yeah, the answer is yeah. Yeah, we are. And there's going to be a whole lot more to protest. So you need to just know that. Michael Jackson reminded, right? We are the world. You know, what really gets me is that, you know, I hear people saying, you know, mostly of a liberal bent, of which I am, well, they're going to regret what they did, as if it doesn't affect us at all. You know, we talk about the interdependent web. Oh, yeah, they're going to turn, but if they go down, we go down. Or if you hear, you know, a newscaster, this is what they're doing with your tax money. And I'm like, well, brother, aren't they doing it with yours too? Well, you know somebody I don't. But there's that separation. We still don't, we pay lip service to an interdependent web. Well, these supporters, boy, they're going to get it. Well, so are we. Right? Compassion and courage makes an individual look into themselves to recognize and to acknowledge your shadow, your shortcomings, your faults, your sins, if I can use the word. And we know what that means. It means to miss the mark, not that you're born in it. And this is tough stuff. And compassion and courage awakens us to think and to act less self-centered. It connects us with the rest of humanity. And it also can result in brotherly and sisterly love. We call it agape. It's unconditional, no strings attached. I love you. It doesn't matter who you vote for. Doesn't matter if you're trans, black, white, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Now, we're a long way from that, but you gotta have a goal. Man, if you shoot the moon, you hit a star. If we are fortunate, out of this compassion comes generosity of spirit to ourselves and the world. It doesn't matter, I say, it doesn't matter who Caesar is. It doesn't matter. Go back and look at Buddha. Go back and look at the lives of Jesus. Go back and look at King. They told us how to live in empire. That we can tax you to death. We can send you overseas. Make you shoot at people that you don't have a problem with. But we can't get inside here. And that's where your freedom is. Don't give it away. Don't stay up so late at night and and drink yourself to death or whatever you do because of who's the emperor. You won't live to see it. You won't live to see the days that's going to come. Don't give away your power. It is one thing to feel compassion, and it's another to act on it. And when we act on it, our lives collectively and individually begin to fill with endless possibilities. Why? Because we're choosing love over fear. It's easy to read about it and talk about it, but now you got to go out and do it. No one is exempt from pain any more than one person can exist in the world and be entirely self-sufficient. We are not closed off from the world, but we are components of the world, like cells in a larger body. And when that cell is traumatized, we sense it. We feel it too. We feel its pain, whether we pay attention to it or not. The pain you feel, that I feel, even when I don't want to. I'm tired. Is the price you pay for being in a human body. There's no getting around it. You can't get out of here alive. It is the price of evolution and consciousness in a threatening and sometimes suffering world. So don't beat yourself up if you get tired. Don't beat yourself up. 7 times down, 8 times up. You got to get back up. But it's the price you pay for being a human being. It's not only natural, it's a necessity if you want to heal. If you want to grow. If you want to evolve. The problem, it's a warning trigger. When you're numb, you don't feel anything. Do you want to be numb? Maybe sometimes. You can do it on the weekends and the evenings. I know how to get numb. Maybe I'll get numb with you. The problem, in my estimation, lies not with our pain for the world, but when we repress the pain, when we act like nothing is going on, when we dodge and make it dull, when we don't have the information we need to act upon. Because when that happens, it keeps us from responding with love. I'm not talking about love where people just walk all over you. I'm talking about a healthy kind, where you got boundaries and little things like that. We don't stop swimming in the river of denial and repression by gritting our teeth and just saying we're going to be noble, braver individuals. I'm a good soldier. We don't renew our passion for life. We don't recapture our creativity and passion for our wild and precious lives by beating up on ourselves and just soldiering on. That level of consciousness is how we got here in the first place. The most remarkable feature, to my mind, of this moment that we live in, because we live, it's easy when you read and go, boy, how did they get through Weimar Germany? How did they get through this? How did they get through that? It's easy because we're reading it. Boy, it must have been tough back then. I don't know if I could have done that. Now we're living it. So you got to get out of here. And now we have to go here. The most remarkable feature of this moment on planet Earth is not that we are destroying our world. We've actually been doing that for quite some time now. It's that we are beginning to wake up. As modern day Rip Van Winkles, from a millennia-long sleep to an entire new relationship with our planet and each other. That's what's happening. And it's scary. This new reality or consciousness will help to make the changes that we need. It is the key to unlock the door of endless possibilities. Remember what William Blake said, right? In the universe, there are things that are known and unknown. And in between, there are doors. In between, there are doors, which opens up possibility. Now, this is not to say that there's no work to be done. Indeed, the hour is late. It's not to say that a big asteroid will not hit us. It's not to say that we will have a limited nuclear exchange, which would wipe us out anyway. It would be so cold. We're not saying that. Not saying that New York won't be underwater in our lifetimes. But it doesn't matter, because we have to do with the life that we have now. It doesn't matter. There's a new worldview emerging if we decide to accept it. And if we are bold enough to experience its implications, it gives us new lenses to look with the world. Remember the Course in Miracle lecture today. I am determined to see, to really see. Jesus talked about you can see the speck in my eye, but not the log in your own. So the scales need to come off our perception. And we can really see the interdependent web of all life. It opens us up to the vast intelligence of nature. And when I say nature, I'm including human nature as well. And so it brings us to a larger identity to transcend our ego-based fears about separation and scarcity and despair. It allows us to honor our own pain and to see the world and ourselves as all part of a healing process. In short, we'll come to realize that the act of courage and love encourages us to see ourselves and others, warts and all, and our world as it really is. In the meantime, our mission, if we choose to accept it, is about what choice do you make? Because it's always about choices. Even not making a choice is a choice. But we need to remain open and gentle. Let us be gentle with ourselves and each other, so then we can become what? Gentle with the earth. Gentle with the earth. And then when we do that, man, I'm telling you, anything is possible. And so, Howard Thurman reminds us that the contradictions of life are not final. They're never final contradictions. The Buddhists say it, just, good things will happen and then that'll be over and then bad things will happen. Life is cyclical. The contradictions of life are not final contradictions. Good Friday has to come before Easter. That's just life. So maybe we need to write those words on our refrigerators and in our iPhones and on our computers and our tablets. But probably most important of all, maybe we need to write those words on our hearts. That's it. Our closing hymn, number 34. Please rise as you are willing and able. Okay, so show the maestro some love. In the words of Universalist minister Hosea Ballou, if we agree in love, there's no disagreement that can do us any harm. But if we don't, no other agreement will do us any good. Have a wonderful afternoon.